Okay, in 1989, I first tried a anesthetic drug called ketamine when I was in graduate school studying neuroscience at the University of Southern California. It was a very interesting experience. Ketamine was the drug that we used actually to anesthetize the animals prior to surgery. And we were doing research at the time with rabbits, and I was inserting what were called cold probes into an area of their brain called the cerebellar cortex, and and then doing various experiments with them afterwards. But I had heard, I learned from reading John Lilly's books and from spending time with him that ketamine was also a very powerful psychedelic. So, being the ever eager researcher, I brought some home with me one night and was eager to try it. So one night I worked up the courage and sat down on my bed and I injected about 90 milligrams of pure liquid ketamine into my right thigh muscle. And then I'd say around 5 minutes later, I suddenly realized that all of my doctoral advisors at the university were actually extraterrestrial scientists, and that we weren't really studying the behavior of rabbits. We were really studying me, that they were actually extraterrestrial scientists that were on an experimental adventure to investigate my brain, and I was actually the experimental subject, I realized. And as I was realizing, quote unquote, this to a further and further degree, I saw myself suddenly in a giant cage surrounded by giant rabbits that were experimenting on me and doing things to my brain and inserting cold probes and electrodes, and there were wires hanging out from my head. And it was a very uncomfortable and frightening situation. And when I returned to my body, I was pretty confused about what was going on. But this much I'll have to say is that I didn't last that much longer in this behavioral neuroscience doctoral program, as I think that my mind was opened up to new possibilities too much, and I went off and began to study with my friend Dr. John Lilly.